Well, happy Thursday to you. Chris Hare here, the world champion crypto cowboy, bringing you another Ethereum update, just like we do every single day. But Ethereum, it kind of found a bottom, it looks like. Kind of made a little run up today, looking kind of optimistic. But we're going to break all that down in the charts. We're going to tell you exactly where I think it's going, where it could go, and what our long-term targets might be. So stick around at the end of the video. You're going to find a lot of information in here, and we'll go through it all. We'll start off with the Crypto Fear and Greed Index, currently at a 24. This measures market sentiment. It tells us if people are scared, if they're euphoric, what's going on, and people are scared to death right now. Little better than yesterday. We're at a 24 today. Yesterday we were at a 20. So we've came up just a little bit, but what I use this for is I do some spot purchasing when we go into fear. And when we go into extreme fear, I buy a little heavier, because what you can see is every time we drop down into these fears, we go on up into greed. And so I just feel like it's a great time to buy. And then you start dollar cost averaging when you get up into greed, and then you're out of it. And when it comes back down into fear, you do it all again. But I went ahead and added my BitUnex chart, or my BitUnex exchange. I went ahead and put just a tiny little bit of money so we could track this. I put $60 in Ether, in Ethereum, and I put $60 in Solana. So we'll see how this goes. I made those this morning, so they're just kind of flat right now, but we'll keep up with it, see how it works. Maybe it's something you guys might want to try out. Look at that. Solana just went into profit. I don't think it's going to be for very long, though. But we'll move on over to an altcoin season index. Came down one more point today. I think yesterday we were at a 25. Today we're at a 24. Last week we were at a 29. So we moved back into Bitcoin season, which I thought was interesting because we were starting to move out of it during that pullback. But I think that last dump just scared the crap out of everybody. Everybody's scared. It's going to take some time to bring people back in. But what we need to see is this white dot get over into these lighter and darker blues, kind of like we did last month. We got to a 63. And then, of course, everybody remembers November when we went on that face melting run. It went all the way up to 87. But we'll get into the Ethereum now, figure out what's going on. This is the liquidation heat map. This is what the market makers use to track your liquidity. Market makers draw the charts, and they do it by just chasing liquidity up and down. So you can see everything above price action is a short trade. Everything below price action is a long trade. We're going to move on over to this chart. But, and I forgot to mention, if you need an exchange to trade on, BitUnex is great. You'll find a link to that in my description. You'll get some cash back on your first deposit, and there's some great incentives for you there. But I think this is almost ready to pull up. There we go. Now we're on a weekly liquidation heat map. So you can see there's some bright pocket liquidity right around $3,260. There's another one right down here at $3,100, but there's a lot more up above us. Cumulatively, guys, 2.02 billion in short trades sitting above us, below us 1.05. So we've got a pretty good imbalance. What I think's happening is this is a retest. They're going to work down, at least down here to around 3,250, grab that. Usually when there's a void like this, I've noticed that they don't come down and get that extra liquidity. So this may be where we bounce. It may not be, but the charts are going to tell us that, and we'll go ahead and get into those. Starting off with Ethereum on the 4-hour, you can see we hit the bottom of that channel. I told you guys when we hit the top of it, when you break out and don't keep going, you automatically go to the bottom. It's a 95% chance that happens, and that's exactly what happened here. We made a ton of money on this short trade all the way from the top. I think about 400% profit for me. It was a really good trade. But you can see now we're working up. We've kind of tested the middle point on this descending channel. And for those of you that don't know, descending channels are bullish because we usually break to the outside. If we break to the downside, it's usually like 5 to 10% of the time, and then it gets really bad. But what you can see here is we're working towards the top of it. We've kind of reached our top right here at halfway point. It's kind of expected, so I think there's a retest now. So where the retest goes is yet to be seen. I would guess somewhere around $3,200, and then we're probably going to make a workup for some more upside. So where do we go from here? Well, there's a retracement golden zone that I don't have marked here between $3,600 and $3,700. I think that's our next stop. Our next big hurdle is to get over these 50 smooth moving averages and the 50 simple moving average. That takes 50 of these candles, puts fluid lines on the chart, and they work as excellent support and resistance. The smooth moving average in white takes a composite of the simple moving average and the exponential moving average and uses both of them in a general line. And I like it better. Charts seem to respect it pretty well. And the exponential moving average really doesn't serve me well. So if we can get across those 50 moving averages, our next stop is getting this golden zone, consolidate, and try to work out and break above where the 50 smooth moving average is now, somewhere here about $3,900. And then our 200 moving average is right there. That takes 200 of these candles, puts a fluid line on the chart, works as support and resistance as well. That'll be our next hurdle. If we can get over those two hurdles, $3,700 to $3,900, your next stop's $45,000 to $5,000. If for some reason we reject out of this, I'm going to be a little concerned, but these things usually need a retest. It may come down, try to retest $3,700, $3,600, and then work its way up. So we'll play this day by day. There's a lot going on here. I'm still a little concerned, but we'll see how it shakes out. But going on to the daily, you'll notice these little dots, and it's kind of speculative, but it works most of the time. It works enough that I keep it in my system. So the white dot is a full moon. The blue dot is a new moon. And what you'll notice is when these full moons print on the daily, we usually get some kind of run to the upside. When you get a new moon that prints, we call it a bear moon. Everything kind of comes down. Full moon up, bear moon down. You see the pattern here? We did print here. We got a little bit of upside, and then we finished that move down. But the bear moon printed here. We went down. Full moon printed, we're going up. So you can see where I'm going with this. It was enough that I paid attention that we're going up. What I do like so far is we haven't set a lower high, so I'm optimistic about that. We bounced off the 200 moving average. We bounced off of everything that we talked about. So I'm pretty optimistic here, guys. So moving to the top side, if we break out of this channel, $3,700 to $3,900 is your next stop on your daily. The next hurdle is going to be getting over this 50 smooth and 50 simple moving average. If we can get over those, $4,200 to $4,500 is going to be your next stop. And then we work up to extensions from there if we can get through it. $5,400 to $6,100. I think that's the top. I don't know that we go much further than that. That's probably where I'm going to pull a lot of profit out of spot. But if we go out to the weekly, it's going to give you a better idea. It's going to give you some different numbers. We did make that weekly target. We wicked down, touched the 50 simple moving average, touched the 50 smooth moving average, and bounced away from it. That's bullish, guys. So question lies, where do we go from here? Like I said, if we get over that daily 50 simple moving average or smooth moving average, next stops are 4,100. Then we're on up to $5,900 to $7,100. If we get some kind of really strong run, there is a possibility of around 10,000. We'll play that day to day. We'll see where that happens. I'm not ready to throw down the gauntlet on that yet, but the opportunity is there. But now you've got a pretty good idea of where we are on Ethereum. I do think we're headed for a little bit of a pump, at least to those daily 50s. And we may reject there, and that may be the end of the bull cycle. It could happen. If it does, we'll pull profit there. I'll tell you when I'm pulling profit, and we'll go from there. But we got to ride this last little wave for as long as we can. I think it's going to be the very last one before we do enter that bear market, and then it gets ugly for about a year typically. It may be shorter this year. You hear rumblings about a super cycle. This bull run, it was impressive last year. And, and if you think about how altcoins ran so hard, I think a lot of coins may have had their moments there. It doesn't mean they're not going to do some kind of performing here in this last run, but you see where I'm going with that. I don't see the 10x, 100x, 50x mega gains that we've seen in the past, not this time around. But that gives you a pretty good idea of what's going on ETH. If you enjoyed the video, go ahead and like it, tap the subscribe, hit the bell notification. You'll get updates as soon as we upload the video. And don't forget to leave us a comment. It helps the YouTube algorithm, and I really enjoy hearing from you guys. But I'm going to wrap this thing up. You'll find links to BitUnix. You'll find links to my X. You'll find links to the Crypto School. I post all the charts. I post signals there. You'll find all that in the description of this video. Go ahead and check it out. But I'm going to wrap it up here. I'm Chris Hare, the world champion crypto cowboy. Thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you down the road.